The only reason to buy a different camera when you have a really good, high quality, pretty much top of the line camera, the only reason to buy another camera at a point like that, there is no reason. No reason. All this is an act of justification. When someone buys a camera, when they already have a good one, there's nothing they're going to say. That's not really them just justifying it. So I might as well get out of the justification. So this, my Sony A7 IV, I've got a 40mm lens on it. This, an Olympus OMD E-M5 Mark II. This is a micro four thirds camera. By the way, that's a 40mm lens. And I want to show you the difference on these. Why did I do this? Well, my justification is I needed / wanted / absolutely didn't need, but could definitely appreciate a very small carry camera, a camera that I could take places that when I had it, it would be small, it would be unobtrusive, it wouldn't be like the big boy. This is the 20mm lens, Panasonic Lumix 20mm lens, which is a 40mm equivalent. This is 40mm full frame. So you can see everything is smaller in a micro four thirds camera. That's because a micro four thirds sensor is a lot smaller than a full frame sensor. On the odd shot that you've never seen both, this is a full frame sensor. And this is a micro four thirds sensor. It's, very, very different in size. I can't tell you because I'm not that spec knowledgeable, but I will tell you that when you have them in your hand, you can absolutely tell the difference. This is a small little guy, almost pocketable. Now, the thing is, these cameras are, for what you're getting, it's a 2015 camera, whereas this bad boy here, I think, was from 2019. The A7 IV is, I think, 2019. This is from 2015. It's 16 megapixels compared to my full frame camera's 33 megapixels. There is not one thing this camera does better, except that it's smaller. And I got it for like just under $300, over $300 with like the shipping and the taxes, but $300. Very small, very pocketable, almost. Winter coat pocket, I could put it in for sure. The other thing that I love is that this 40mm lens, which is a 20mm, but it's micro four thirds, it is so small that this whole rig just feels tiny. And you see this kind of grip on here, that's added on. That's an accessory that somebody shipped with the camera. I can unscrew it. I can take this bad boy off. I thought I did that so much slicker than I did. Boosh, I could take it off. This thing's even smaller, just a tiny little grip. But something tells me I'm gonna wanna keep that grip on. I think it's gonna feel a little better that way. So I got this camera for a couple reasons. One is I had been sort of really wanting to try the micro four thirds form factor. I wanted to try the sensor. I wanted to have a very small camera. There are times when I will go to a place and I will feel just a little self-conscious with my full frame, because when you bring this bad boy out, it looks pretty, intrusive. It looks kind of like the camera, you can't get away from it sort of looking a little pro. You get this bad thing in front of your face, it looks like, whoa, you're here to document things. And I think, at least in my head, and again, remember, this is a huge act of justification. At least in my head, this little guy feels a little more like I'm boop, boop, I'm on vacation, don't mind me, happy Santa Claus. That's kind of why I got him. The other reason is for that low price range, it is also a scenario where if I was in an area that wasn't so safe, this would be a far less expensive camera for someone to choose to rob off of me. And sometimes I like to take photos in areas that aren't as safe. Now, not scary, I'm not walking into war zones, but I definitely am going to places where, I would feel better if I had a smaller, less obtrusive camera. The other thing is size of the lenses. This is my 50mm. This is glued to my camera 90+% of the time. It is a beautiful lens. It is manual focus. It is smaller than a lot of the autofocus 50mm out there. But this is 25, which is a 50 equivalent. It is half the size. It is less size than the lens I have on this camera. And I'm not doing a great job of showing that through the lens here, but I can tell you that in person, holding this camera, you can absolutely vividly tell that it weighs so much different. Whereas this is a Lumix Leica 25 millimeter, which, like I said, is a 50 millimeter equivalent. And it's just a beautiful, beautiful lens in a very small package. Let me repeat it because I need to for even myself. This is all an act of justification. I didn't need any of these things. I definitely was fine and happy with the material and equipment that I had. But I guess somewhere in my head, I had this sort of thought that I just really wanted to try Micro Four Thirds. Why? It's small. The biggest lenses in Micro Four Thirds, for the most part, are by far smaller than the small to medium size full frame. So this is set up for sort of street photography. This 20 millimeter is a 40 millimeter equivalent. It's kind of a street photography kind of camera. I could take this into a city, shoot people, be very happy. With that 25 millimeter, which brings it out to a 50, it's the equivalent of the lens that I shoot 90% on my Sony. So either way, with those two lenses, I basically have the same setup, much smaller. So that's what I'm going for. I'm going to try that out. And I'll show you a couple of pictures I took. I was at a Starbucks, so I was just shooting inside the Starbucks, nothing too interesting. But I figure you could look. If you look at the image quality, they're pretty good. Like, I haven't worked with the RAW files yet. Another interesting detail that I'm going to throw in is that this camera, I don't even know how it's set up just yet. Like I said, I just got it. The camera has some kind of looks or whatever on it. Like, it can add certain like film simulations and things like Fuji does or Ricoh does. And my camera currently, the JPEGs are prettier than what I'm getting in the RAWs, because I don't know how to work with the RAWs just yet. The RAWs are often much more cool. So I'm adding something to them that makes them look scrumptious in JPEG, and I'll have to learn how to work with those files a little bit in RAW. That's just funny. It's interesting. It's one of those early on, you kind of go, wow, this is really amazing. And then you go, well, how does it really look? And how do I make it look like that myself? But I can tell you, even just straight out of camera, the JPEGs are pretty decent. The things I'm expecting it not to do so well at, low light. This camera is full frame. This lens is an f1.2, so it's like a very wide open aperture that could suck up the darkness really well. This is a very small Micro Four Thirds. The best lens I have so far for it is an f1.4. It might not do as well, who knows? But this is a daytime kind of a rig in my mind. Oh, the other thing, it's a 16 megapixel camera. However, if I put it on a tripod and I wanted to do certain landscape things, there is a mode where it stacks multiple exposures on top of each other and makes 40 megapixel files. I do not know what that looks like. I probably won't even try to do that for some duration of time, but it's neat that I could. And then the last thing, if on this camera, for whatever reason, if I decided on my Sony full frame camera, if I wanted to shoot birding photography, if I wanted to shoot birds, I've shot photos of birds, but I mean the way the wildlife photographers do, those lenses are more than a few feet wide. They weigh many pounds. They also cost more than the camera does, $3,000, $4,000 just for the lens. As you might guess, on the Micro Four Thirds, an equivalent 100 to 300 millimeter, which would be a 200 to 600 in full frame, it would be, I saw one for $400 instead of $3,000, and it's about this big. It's just a bit bigger than the lens that I have on my camera right now. So it would be smallish. I could carry it around in a little bag and not even anything important. Whereas those birding ones, you almost end up having to buy a backpack just for the lens that you buy. Now, I don't think that's a particular kind of photography that I'm going to get into per se. I don't, birding does not like light me up inside and, fill me with joy. But I can tell you that if I wanted to, the Micro Four Thirds might be the way to go. Oh, and by the way, this thing does have some features. I said it has fewer features than my Sony, but it does have in-body image stabilization. It has weather sealing. This particular lens isn't weather sealed. I don't think either lens I picked up for it is weather sealed, but I could buy weather sealed lenses to go with it. I could shoot in pretty much a deluge. This one is also weather sealed, but I think the rating on that might be better. Plus, I would feel less weepy if I accidentally got this one too wet to turn back on again. Whereas, like I said, just under 300 bucks. This camera from 2015 is pretty significant. It shoots pretty good content in good quality. Oh, it does shoot video, but it doesn't, I think it's like 1080p or something. I'm not even gonna try it. I might do it just for my own entertainment, but I don't think I'll show it to you on the show. So there you go. No reason, no excuse, no justification. I bought myself a Micro Four Thirds camera. As you know, you can send email to me, chris@chrisbrogan.com. You can connect with me anytime, anywhere. I'm always so happy. Thank you so much for being part of this. In between, as always, be good to yourself.